Hey everyone, Brad Thorpe from Isofit. Welcome to another episode of Isofit Q&A. So on today's question, we're going to be talking about baseball. But more specifically, the question is, can Isofit help me hit more home runs? It really depends on your skill set, let's be honest. You have to have great hand-eye coordination, but you also need to generate huge amounts of power. And when looking at the creation of power, there's two components that you really need to focus on. Right? There's the one that everyone always talks about because we live in basically a dynamic world. We always talk about velocity. But one thing we forget to talk about when looking at power, because power is the combination of force and velocity. Now, if you're looking at setting up that strength curve or that velocity curve, that power relationship, it really is about isometric strength. Because as soon as you start moving, you're on the velocity curve. So on the vertical axis, when developing power, you have isometric strength. Along the bottom, you have basically the velocity side is all your motion stuff. So we can maximize our power by enhancing our isometric strength and also rate of force development, right? Because your isometric muscle contraction fires before the dynamic component. So if you're looking to increase the acceleration factor, you got to be able to anchor better off other muscles and other joint positions that are involved in the baseball swing. So, can we hit more home runs? If you got the skill, yes, you absolutely can. So let's look at a couple things that we can look at. So we're just going to look at trunk rotation. So I'm just going to bring this down, and I'm going to basically pretend I'm swinging a baseball bat from a seated position. Because it really comes back to core strength. Obviously, legs are heavily involved. So I'm not going to discount that. But right now we're going to talk about core. So we're going to drive our arms to the left, right? And that's going to be that sort of follow through. So when you're here, and boom, point of contact. So learning how to get crazy, crazy strong through the trunk. Now it's super important also to maintain great wrist strength. So what I want you to do here is I want you to sort of focus on pulling the wrists up. So what you're trying to do is that. You're trying to do that extension component of that wrist, right? So getting that extension as well as flexion. So you want to get really strong through the wrist structure. So we had exercise 1. Exercise 2, where you're flexing your wrist. Exercise 3, pulling down. Exercise 4 is really going to be about that backswing. So can we get back there? And now because it's trunk stuff, and I know you guys swing and you don't sort of really swing back before you come forward, but there is that little bit of what people like to call a little bit of elastic recoil. So if I can get back there faster, then I can get out of there. Hugely important. So how do I get out of there? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my body up slightly different. Now I'm going to have to adjust the bar. So now what I want to do is coming through. So now I'm more of a mid-section. So we basically had the end range. Now we're kind of go to the middle of that swing. And what we're also going to do is we're going to go to the start of that swing. So I'm going to start all the way back here. So learning how to get out of an elongated position is hugely important. Now, I did also mention leg strength. Now, what you want to do is focus on when you're swinging a baseball bat is can you generate huge amounts of force through your leg structure, right? Because it's like you're here, and then it's that transfer, and it's that hip extension with internal rotation of the tibia, external rotation of the upper thigh, right? So how can we train that? So what we're going to do is we're going to externally rotate, bring that back, and then work on turning that foot in and plantar flex. So that's what we want to do. So we're externally rotating your hip, internally rotating your tibia, full plantar flexion of your ankle. And those are some exercises that we're going to look to add. So if you're sort of sitting here and you're swinging, and it's like you're coming through, you know, that final expression, Also good for golf, but that's another topic. Anyways, hope to see you guys tomorrow on another episode of Isofit Q&A.